All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you just popped in or you're checking out the video, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at in a little more depth how we're going to utilize Ixl.com and newsela.com. So let's just start off with that right now. We'll look at, I'll do a screen share real quick. You all can see that, correct?
Yes.
So everybody has a login, and
Yeah.
if you do not, or if you need help with that, please don't hesitate. Tonight, I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second. Tonight, I'm actually here on campus. Really fun. It's going to be blast tonight till 9:30. So my day is 7 a.m. to 9:30 today because we are going to, we have students on campus till 9:30. So if you need to get in touch with me or email me, text me, give me a phone call, tonight would be a good night. And I'll do that every Thursday night is my long night where I'll do teaching for 1 hour from 5 to 6. And then from 6 to 9:30, I'll be here in kind of a pseudo administrative just to make sure the buildings don't burn down. And if they are burning down, I get to call 911 first. So I know Marshall's already laughing about it. So yeah, Mr. Marshall. So just so you don't know, Marshall has been in my class for a little bit. We've seen dramatic gains, both on the GED practice test, which we'll get into in future Zooms, as well as the regular GED, moving sometimes 20, 25 points on the GED, which has been awesome to see. So let's move back to screen sharing. So we want to use Ixl, utilize that real quick, and I'll show you guys. I want everybody, did anybody get into the diagnostic yet?
Yes, I did.
So we got Marshall gets the gold star for the day.
You had to drag him away to make him go to the school.
Okay, good. So I want everybody, whether you've been in my class for 200 years or 20 minutes, you have to do this diagnostic. And I want to show you just a little reason why we do that real quick. It's 2 minutes. If you saw this the other night, go get a drink, but I'll show you this real quick.
You have phone tap. I live in the country.
No.
The Ixl Continuous Diagnostic is a great way to find out what your students know and what they are ready to learn next. Getting started is easy. The first thing you'll want to do is have your students pinpoint their diagnostic levels. Have students visit the diagnostic arena and answer questions until they have pinpointed levels in all strands. For math, this usually takes about 75 to 80 questions.
Super fun, 75 to 80 questions.
For English language arts, it will take about 55 to 65 questions.
Yeah, because we're going to just be a little
Your
less.
students can pinpoint their levels in one sitting, or you can spread it out over the course of a few sessions. Once your students have pinpointed levels, you'll have accurate information on how each learner is doing in critical math and ELA strands. Each of the diagnostic levels you see corresponds to a grade level. A score of 600, for example, means that a student is ready to begin working on 6th grade skills. Ixl uses insights from the diagnostic to create a personalized action plan for each one of your students. These skills are the perfect ones to help your students close gaps and build on their knowledge. Your students can click directly on these recommended Ixl skills to start making progress right away. One of the best parts of the continuous diagnostic is that it really is continuous. With regular work on Ixl skills and just 10 to 15 questions per week in the diagnostic arena, your students can keep their diagnostic levels up to date. This means that you'll always have up-to-date information on your students' knowledge and just the right Ixl skills to help them grow.
So one of the big reasons why we want to do that, guys, is because I don't want to teach you, like in math, for example, the math teachers are not going to want to teach you all of geometry or all of algebra. We want to focus on the skill sets that are really pertain to you specifically. So the point is to get through these and get skill sets or specific skill sets in order to do better on the high stakes test, the GED. So I have, it looks like we have Marshall was doing some of the real-time diagnostic, but I don't have access to look at what it looks like on my screen yet. Let's see if we can look at that. I'm going to use you, Marshall, if that's okay, real quick. Okay, so
Hi.
here's the different sections, and there's recommended skills. I know he didn't spend a lot of time on it. The language arts is only one skill recommended, so
I
that,
just started.
yeah. So you just started, which is not a big deal. I'm not negatively talking about that, but I want you to look at the different skill sets that he's looking at in this particular section would be the recommendations, and those are going to be key to build your skill set, okay? And that gives you access to, we talked about the other night, so if you're get really bored real quick, you can look at math for a little bit, then science, then social studies, and language arts, and that's going to be beneficial for you. So this is Ixl. This is where we specifically get into the skill sets. And then you can look at analytics. I'll look real quick and see what kind of things you've done. I can see specifically that some students, there's been 78 questions answered. Somebody took some, it was Constantino's, took some time to look at Ixl and got cranking on it, which is totally fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever, but I can see how, what you looked at. This is also how I look at your attendance and better at doing that. So we can look at each individual summary, okay, of each student, as well as we can look at the group as a whole, okay? I don't want to look at that. I want to look at this part, the dashboard. You can look at progress that every student has. So this is where, like, when we have a conference one-on-one, and you can see who has not started yet, and that's totally fine. But what we want to do is manage that and really cut time in what we're focused on. So let's look at the learning real quick. Learning section, obviously we have math here, language arts, science, social studies. Save math for your 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and when you're working outside of the Zooms, these math sections are definitely good to supplement or complement what's being done, and whether you have Mr. Moschner or Mr. Butler. So some of you, does anybody have Mr. Moschner that's here? You have Mr.
I
Butler?
do.
Oh, so
I do.
Yeah, I do.
it's split. I have every student. So I have all of the English, language arts, social studies, science, and then the math teachers split you guys in half based on your skill sets, okay? Mr. Moschner tends to be the higher level GED, where we're kind of push you to the next level. We want you to get into taking the practice test and eventually passing that math section of the GED. And then Mr. Butler is getting back to the basics of kind of not to say lower level math, but back to the basics of math. And usually, sometimes we switch from one to the other. So let's go back to Ixl.com with your login. I want to do just a little bit of more in depth of practicing I want to get into what our next lesson will be on main idea. We will have a big lesson on main idea come Tuesday, and I'll give you links to that and videos to that beforehand, and some kind of cheat sheets, I call them, stuff for you to work on. Again, I want to give you the tools for you to be successful. You get to determine on what exactly you want to focus on or how much you want to get into that. So I'm going to give you plenty of tools. You decide which ones you're going to use in that. So let's look at, we're looking at details, which help support main idea. So it gives us, it's kind of like learning main idea from an inverse way. So if we learn details really well, that they're very, very specific, and usually we have a little mini lesson on it, and that'll happen next week, a little mini lesson on main idea. when we look at details, they're super specific and they always lead to a bigger idea or a main thrust, what we call the main idea. So these details, let's look about mirrors, okay? So we're looking at specific items about mirrors, and then we're going to help us tie all things together and hopefully get this right and boost our quote unquote, the SMART score. So people in Egypt used copper mirrors over 3,000 years ago. Around 200 BCE, people in Central America used mirrors from shiny stones. In 1835, Germans started making the first glass mirror. So we are either going to have a very specific or a too broad of an answer or a correct answer here that has to do with the specific main idea. So those three, having said those three, is it the main idea? In ancient China, people shined metal to make mirrors. That seems to me to be very, very specific, and I don't see China talked about here. I see Egypt, Central America, and Germans. How about mirrors have been in use for a very long time. So that is our main idea. This might be another great detail to add to this, maybe like a fourth paragraph in a particular paper or something like that. So let's see if we got it. Well done, kicking butt, right? Next one, we're looking at details about Asia, and then hopefully what wraps those things together to be a really good idea. So about 1/3 of Earth's land is in Asia. Asia is has the longest coastline of any continent, or Asia has more people than any, and Asia has more people than any other continent. So we're looking at, now I did 3rd grade on purpose because this is supposed to be easy, okay? And I'll show you when we can jump a level here in a little bit. So we're choosing the main idea. I don't see anything about Africa. I don't really even need to read that, but let's read it. Africa has the longest waterfall in the world. That's nice, but we're talking about Asia. So we know that Asia is a very large place with many people, okay? Definitely B, my friend. Very good. Let's look at another one about writing letters. Letters often begin with dear, followed by the name of the person. Letters usually end with the word sincerely or thank you. People almost always sign their name at the end of letters, and we're looking at what ties these things together. Reading a letter from someone can be exciting, or letters usually follow a certain pattern. What do you guys think?
Hey.
So let's look at that again. We see something that's the introduction of a letter, the ending of a letter, and then the signature of a letter, which doesn't, these 3 things don't necessarily make it particularly exciting. Like I'm not reading dear and sincerely and thank you and going, oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Okay,
So that was one to slip you up. Yeah, so it is B. Letters usually follow a certain pattern. You don't start a letter by saying goodbye, you know, that would be kind of foolish. So you see our SMART scores going up. Let's do one more and we're going to move to the next section, which is key detail. Well, I actually want to show you what this section looks like at higher levels. So look at these details in the paragraph about sleep. Oh, don't we need sleep? I don't think I'm going to get any tonight with all this coffee. Your body repairs itself when you sleep. Sleep helps your body fight off cold and flu. Sleep helps you think more clearly at school or work. You think more clearly when you sleep well. Your body needs sleep to work well, okay? What do you guys think? Which one is the bigger main idea? A or B?
I would say B.
B is correct because I want you to look at this one. You think more clearly when you sleep well. Here's one that says thinking more clearly, right? That's specific about that detail. So that would be good in that paragraph, but it's not good here because we're talking about cold and flu, talking about helping the body repair itself. Very good. So this is 3rd grade, right? Let's move up a level to, oop, that's not moving up a level. That's moving to the next section. Or is it? Let me just go to I'll show you guys what 8th grade looks like. So let's go to 8th and notice all these are in order in a sense, which is cool. The 4 sections, we have reading strategies, which is all these. We have writing strategies, which are very important. Your vocab, which is extremely important, building your vocab, okay? And then you have your grammar and mechanics, which is kind of the super fun stuff about nouns, pronouns, verbs, things like that. So back to main idea in 8th grade, look at the difference between the two, right? There is a big difference. Now you're reading a full paragraph, right? And then you're determining based on that paragraph, which one of these is, one's gonna be too detailed. It has 3 options: to be too detailed, too broad, or just perfect in regards to a main idea. So notice that as you increase, that's kind of the goal here. I don't care if it's main idea, if it's a vocabulary section, a grammar section, you wanna start low, right? 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And then if it's easy and you're like kind of quote unquote wasting your time, it's not wasting your time anyways, kind of spurs your thinking. You want to move to a higher grade level. The goal being that you want to get between 9th and 12th grade and get hundreds, between 90s to hundreds there, 80s to, I want you to be between 80 to 90 on your SMART scores. So let's go back to 3rd grade. I want to look at the 2nd section. Notice this has only 1 section, determining the main idea of the passage. And then 3rd grade is using key details. So it talks about details, and then it splits it into 2 thoughts. So let's do a couple of these small passages in the main idea. We'll do 2 or 3, and then we'll move to, I'll talk about science and social studies really quick. Smartphones. All right, these are fun. Smartphones are phones that are used for more than making calls and sending messages. People count on them for getting directions and finding information on the internet. People also have fun listening to music, taking pictures, and playing games on their phone. On the other hand, smartphones have some downsides. They can make it hard to keep your mind on important things like studying. Some people even text during meals or when spending time with their family. God forbid, right? Driving while using a phone puts people in danger, and then smartphones are useful. They can cause problems if not used safely and politely. So we're trying to look at all that information, and we're trying to identify what is the main idea. Let's give our 2 options. Smartphones can be used in both good and bad ways, or there are many good things about smartphones. What do you guys think?
I would say A.
It's going to be A, and you're right, Marshall, because I'm going to split this paragraph right here. So this speaks about, and we can talk about each section here, smartphones and the positive aspects. You can send messages, you can text, you can make phone calls, you can get directions. Do you know we used to use maps to get places? It's unreal. Now we don't need that. We can say, hey Siri, how do I get home? And it'll get you home. People use, actually my desk phone, my phone on my desk just picked up the map. People can listen to music, take pictures, and play games on their phones. These are all what they would consider fun or good things that you can do on your cell phone. And then you have this, on the other hand, that switches gears real quick, even though it's the same paragraph, but it switches gears on, okay, we went from what are the good things about cell phones to some of the negative things that you can, it makes it hard to keep your mind on one thing. How many of you guys, when you're studying, you're reading an article, or when you can foresee yourself in the future on Newsela, and then you get a text from a family member or girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever it is, you're now not reading anymore. You're now not focused, okay? And then some people are doing that during meals. If you're going out to eat and you're not still in quarantine, you'll see families that every single person is on their phone, which seems like a waste of money and time in my book. But when you're spending quality time with people, they're even having new parties now that are like, you put all your cell phones in a basket and you can focus on your friends and family. It sounds like a nice thing to me. And then the worst one, I think, and the most dangerous would be driving, right? When you're looking down for seconds at a time when you should be looking up and you just traveled a half a mile or a quarter mile and God forbid something like that happens, okay? So we know that I know that took a little bit of time, but we analyzed that pretty well, and we know that this is a detail. That only talked about half of the document, and then the A is actually the answer. So let's do another one. Ooh, gravity, this is fun. What would life be like without gravity? Gravity is the force that makes things fall to Earth. You can't see or touch it, but without gravity, life on Earth would be quite different. Everything would simply float away. If you jumped up, you would fly off into space. If you threw a baseball, it would never come down. Gravity would also gravity is also the force that keeps Earth orbiting around the sun. So without gravity, the Earth might float away too. So main idea, life on Earth would be different without gravity, or without gravity, Earth wouldn't orbit the sun. Which one is the main idea? One is too specific and one is just perfect. So somebody said
A.
yes, very good. I know this is third grade level, but you can see how you buzz through this and then you're going to go to 8th, 9th, 10th grade level. That's kind of the goal there. So life on Earth would be different. I wanted to go back, but we'll do this next one. Pen pals. Ooh, that's fun. Learning from pen pals. Pen pals are friends who live far apart but write letters to each other. It's exciting for pen pals to get letters in the mail from another city or country. Excuse me. More importantly, pen pals learn about each other's lives. They may share ideas about their families, pets, and favorite foods. They also may tell each other about special places, events in their towns. Through words and pictures, pen pals may make each other's worlds a little bit bigger, okay? So, big idea. Is it having a pen pal is a good way to learn about life in another place, or pen pals send letters and pictures to each other through the mail?
A.
Very good, A. Anybody have a pen pal, or did anybody used to have a pen pal, maybe back in grade school?
No.
No one? We used to have pen pals, like the 5th graders would write to the 3rd graders and stuff like that. Now we have iPhones, so we can call people who live in South America, and it's free. So it's a different way of doing it. All right, we're going to do one more, okay? Wild West boom towns. In 1848, a few builders discovered gold in California. Hearing the news, many people moved out west in a hurry. Guess what? In 1849 is when everybody moved out there. We have a football team named the 49ers. Do you see a connection? Anyone? No one? San Francisco 49ers. That is named after the gold rush. Moved out west in a hurry. This push west for gold was called the gold rush. Thanks to the gold rush, small towns grew into big and busy ones almost overnight. These fast-growing towns were called boom towns. Only a few people got rich searching for gold. Others made money by selling things like food, clothing, and clothing to people in boom towns. So, big idea. Which one is it? The gold rush turned small California towns into boom towns, or during the gold rush, many people got rich?
A.
We know it's A, and we know that the second one is stupid because only a few people got rich from gold, okay? So we're gonna go from there. So that's just a more in-depth example of what I wanna see out of language arts. We'll do a mini lesson. Tuesday will be one that we do on main idea. We'll get very specific on what main idea looks like. I'll give you documents that describe what that is, practice documents as well. So be ready for that, okay? Then I want to look at science. Remember, I talked about some of you remember, some of you don't. I talked about science going from 2nd grade to 8th grade. It does progressively get more difficult, but I would not disregard 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade and think, whoa, I'm way too smart for that. There's a lot of information in there that is very important. And we're looking at anything from biology to anatomy and physiology, so parts of your body, parts of animals, things like that. And all of that is going to be pretty important. Science is on the GED, it is a reading test. So you're going to read about science. You might read about phase changes or plants or weather climates and things like that. And when you do that, you're going to read those passages and need to answer questions about that. I like this one, estimating. Let's do this one real quick. We're supposed to get 4 in a row, and let's complete this one. So getting started, this is, I think it's what, 3rd grade? How long does it take to peel a banana? Select the best estimate. This is a skill set, estimating. Many people don't have this. Would it take you 10 minutes or 10 seconds? I read that backwards. I don't know why.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. And please remember, if you're going to peel a banana, we always have tangents, but we're going to peel a banana from the bottom to the top. Does that make sense? Then you don't get any stringies. I know I'm a weird guy, but try it.
Yeah,
That's how the monkeys do it, man. How long does it take to bake lasagna in the oven? Select the best estimate. 35 seconds or 35 minutes?
35 minutes.
Anybody wish it was 35 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't even do a frozen meal in 35 seconds. So 35 minutes is how you do a lasagna, okay? You want it at 400, maybe 350. How long does it take to see all the animals in the zoo? You're gonna select the best estimate. 4 minutes or 4 hours? Now,
4 hours.
if your name is Flash, maybe it's 4 minutes, but we're going to recommend that you spend 4 hours at the Tampa Zoo. How long does it take to blow your nose? Select the best estimate. 5 seconds or 5 hours?
5 seconds.
Hours.
I just feel like 5 seconds is a long time to blow your nose. But I think that's a better estimate than 5 hours, because half of my work day, I should not be blowing my nose. And that's not even a COVID joke. All right. Next one. Woohoo, we did it. Let's go to the next section. See, it progressively gets more difficult. How long does it take to put your seatbelt, put on your seatbelt? Best estimate.
5 seconds.
5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours. You guys are getting the hint here. Next one. How long does it take to go for a walk with a dog?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Oh yeah, unless you're on a freaking marathon, you don't want to walk for 10 hours. And unless you're dragging the dog on the street, it shouldn't be 10 seconds. It should be 10 minutes. That's good. Good work. We're kicking butt. How long does it take to do the laundry?
1 hour.
1 second, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 hour. I wish it was 1 second or 1 minute, but it usually is about an hour unless you're doing some kind of heavy duty multi-hour thing. How long does it take to slide down a slide?
4 seconds.
14 seconds.
4 seconds, not, God forbid it be 4 hours. Next one. How long does it take to fry an egg in a pan? Select the best estimate.
4 minutes.
4 seconds, 4 minutes, 4 hours. We're getting the hint. Very good. Wonderful. So we're so impressive that we got a gold star, and we did that in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. 100%. We got a hundo. We love hundos in this group, don't we? All right, so that's a little bit of science. And then the social studies aspect we looked at. We're going to look real quick at, it really doesn't matter which one we look at, but we look at different sections here. You have the state capitals, things like that. Here's your government, the purpose of government, the Bill of Rights, super fun stuff, right? This is all super, super important. American government, American civics, American history. As much as you might not particularly like it, it is very good. You can use these, like look at all these names. There's even some modern names as well. You're gonna read different paragraphs about each one, understand different information about each one, and you might, I have no problem with you stopping on Ixl, popping onto YouTube and learning more about Bill Gates or Neil Armstrong or somebody like that. That is increasing your depth of knowledge and your background knowledge, which guess what? That's what we're doing here. We're trying to do that. Let's select some oceans. It's going to be a blast here, just as an example here. Identifying oceans and continents. All right. So we have The darker green, which is it? You better get this.
North
Now I'm
America.
gonna come through this Zoom.
South America.
Oh my God, you broke my heart.
Did you say it's North? The
North
dark green
The dark green is North America.
is North America. Yeah,
Now we have
South America.
South America. There we go, South America. Good work. We kick butt. This is
And Antarctica.
very good. Antarctica. Very good.
Antarctica.
And then we have
Asia.
Asia. Okay. And then we are going to move on to the next one, which is
Europe.
Europe. Very, very good. We
And
come
then
to that
Africa.
one. And we have Africa.
Africa.
And then we're going to move on to Australia,
Yep.
which is this is the only country that is also a continent. Did you know that? I'm full of absolute useless knowledge. All right, so we are looking at these different sections here. This may be a little more difficult. So is this the Indian, Arctic, Southern Ocean, Pacific Ocean, or Atlantic? Now, this country right here, I can tell you is India. So
The Indian Ocean.
I'm gonna give you, I'm let you cheat, and that's the Indian Ocean. That's how I always identify it. This is called the Ring of Fire. That goes from Eastern
Isn't that
Asia over to Western
Pacific.
Americas. That is our biggest ocean, which is the Pacific. Very, very good. Fantastic. This is the
Arctic Ocean.
yes, the Arctic Ocean, which is made up a lot of glaciers, ice. And this is the
Atlantic Ocean.
so Atlantic is here.
That's the Southern Ocean.
It's the southern one. It's a little bit tricky because we don't really think
Yeah.
of this as an ocean too much. Because I think this section would encompass Arctic, not the Arctic, the Atlantic. This would be the Pacific. This is the so this is a goofy one. You don't always see this too much, but that would be what we consider the Southern Ocean. Kind of goofy. I already did this one to repeat, so that's Pacific.
Pacific.
And now we're looking at
That's the Atlantic.
the hot Atlantic Ocean. It's really hot right now. That's why we're having hurricanes. Yay, another gold star. How do you love that? Okay. So that is our IXL. We have 10 minutes left. Let me look real quick. I just want to go a brief overview on News ELA. You guys can see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to sometime like over the summer, some of the students wouldn't tell you that like you're showing them something, and I would be like 15 minutes into a thing, and they're like, "We don't know what you're talking about." So that was fun. So News ELA again. This is between, from what I understand, 50 to 80,000 nonfiction. So nonfiction is reality. Fiction is fantasy. That's how you remember that. So fictional items are fantasy. Now, I have no problem with you reading. If you are a bookworm, you want to read fantasy. For us, having been a reading teacher for, now this is my 10th year into my 11th, focus with nonfiction, that's the easiest way to boost your reading, okay? It absolutely is going to increase your reading score dramatically more than you would see in a fictional state. So with these News ELA articles, they're current events, they're historical, and now I'm looking, I do want to give you guys a break. So what I'll do is I'll create I will create another Zoom, but I'll just do it so you can see on mine without anybody on it, and I'll upload a video specifically about News ELA. If you guys do that. And then I will stop sharing. Do you guys have any questions, comments for me? I did want to just get, time escaped us, I guess, so it's okay. We'll live. We're going to get into, I'll spend about 20, 25 minutes next time on just main idea, and then we'll spend the next half on a specific article where I'll show you exactly what I want you to get into on the articles and what I want you to look at. I think if you spend your time from today until next Tuesday, and feel free to email me, text me, call me, whatever you want. If you have any questions, comments, or you want any more instruction in regards to that. And again, I'm here till almost 10 tonight. But between now and then, play around with these different programs, get familiar with them, and then start, reading a couple of the articles maybe on News ELA that interest you. Okay, nothing's wrong with that. But I'm going to stay on just for a minute, but you can, at your point in time that you want to leave for math, can go ahead and do that. And again, like I'll say, I will pray for you that math goes well, because that needs the most prayer, okay? Because math is, that's the toughest one. That's the one we see the students, usually the last test they pass is math. So, so I'm the first speed bump. All right, my friends, I appreciate you guys being here. I will upload this. You can have access to this if you need to look at that again. And I'll upload some more videos about specifically News ELA, what we're trying to look at for that, those nonfiction articles, as well as some of the cheat sheets, graphic organizers for Main Idea, which will be Tuesday of next week at 5 o'clock, okay? All right, my friends.
All right.
I'm a little jealous. Charles, you have food and you didn't offer any food. Nice. All right, my friends. Thank you. Marshall, have a good, enjoy Mr. Butler.
Okay.
See you guys.